In the haunting silence of the night under a blood-red moon, two police officers, Jake and Sarah, found themselves patrolling the desolate outskirts of a small town. The air was thick with an ominous stillness, the only sound being the sporadic crackle of their radios, a static symphony that echoed through the winding roads, hemmed in by the impenetrable darkness of the forest. Their cruiser, a beacon of flickering light in the inky abyss, ambled along the deserted path. Soon, an eerie sight unfolded before them. An ancient cemetery, its time-worn headstones standing as mute sentinels in the spectral glow of the moon. The rusted gates groaned under the weight of countless secrets, whispering tales of those long gone into the chilly breeze. Jake's heart thudded against his ribcage, a nervous rhythm that matched Sarah's unsteady breaths. "Let's check it out," Sarah urged, her voice wavering slightly in the stillness. With a sense of trepidation, they stepped out of their cruiser and approached the cemetery. A chill ran down Jake's spine as he peered into the darkness beyond the rusted gates. His partner Sarah had a hint of nervousness in her voice as she suggested they check it out. This old cemetery, standing like a silent sentinel under the blood-red moon, was threatening to swallow them whole. They stepped out of their cruiser, the air growing colder with each step forward. The eerie silence was deafening, only interrupted by the crackling of their radios, which seemed to be drowned by the chilling aura of the graveyard. The hairs on the back of their necks stood on end, their senses on high alert. Suddenly, a low moan echoed through the stillness, a sound that seemed to come from the bowels of the earth itself, a lament of a restless soul. It sent a jolt of fear through both officers. They exchanged a glance, a silent agreement passing between them. With a deep breath, they drew their weapons, the cold steel a small comfort in the face of the unknown. Their flashlights danced a macabre ballet across the moss-covered tombstones. The beams cast long, twisted shadows that seemed to come alive in the darkness. Jake's heart pounded in his chest, each beat a loud drum in the silence as they ventured deeper into the labyrinth of graves. Then they saw them, figures emerging from the shadows. Not just figures, but what used to be humans. Their rotting flesh hanging from their bones, eyes vacant and lifeless. Zombies. Without a second thought, Jake and Sarah opened fire, the deafening sounds of their shots echoing through the night. But the undead kept coming, advancing relentlessly, driving the officers back towards the gates. They found themselves surrounded, their backs against the cold metal bars. Desperation clawed at their hearts as the zombies closed in, their putrid breath hot against their skin. But they didn't yield. They fought tooth and nail, their bullets tearing through decaying flesh in a futile attempt to hold back the tide of the undead. Their backs against the cold metal bars, desperation clawing at their hearts, they fought tooth and nail. As the first rays of dawn broke over the horizon, the silence of the graveyard was shattered by the sound of sirens in the distance. The cavalry had arrived, but it was a case of too little, too late. The once bustling scene was now an eerie tableau of tranquility. Jake and Sarah, the brave officers who had dared to confront the undead horrors, were nowhere to be found. Their fate was unknown, lost to the chill of the morning mist. All that remained was their empty patrol car, its doors ajar, its interior a grim canvas of crimson, a chilling testament to a night of unimaginable terror. As the news of their disappearance spread, the small town was gripped by a shroud of fear and uncertainty. Locals now whispered tales of the haunted cemetery and the courageous officers who dared to unmask its secrets. Whether truth or fiction, one thing remains certain: some secrets are best left buried.